Tan Sri Vincent said, the Covid-19 pandemic is a great global lesson for all. So let's hear from Brother Vincent today. What is the lesson that he has learned from this COVID-19 pandemic and how that has changed his perspective of life? Coming back to the point of recycling, picking rubbish out from the sea. In this regard, what have you learned from Tzu Chi?
I was very, very impressed when I saw a video of how Tzu Chi members, a few committed members, 3-4 of them, turned the whole of Pulau Ketam, used to be a garbage dump, Pulau Ketam, a lot of people go there to eat seafood. And then you find at the bottom, they all live on the stilt, on the water. You found down there full of rubbish. So from the video I saw, Tzu Chi members started it. And now Pulau Ketam is free of rubbish. And the Pulau Ketam is so clean. I'm so impressed. And I said, that is fantastic.
That is true.
Yeah.
Tzu Chi started recycling activities some 34 years ago. And through years and years of research, Tzu Chi International Humanitarian AIDS Association has turned a lot of these garbage, PET bottles, into useful products like the blouse that I'm wearing now, and into blankets, foldable beds, as well as recycling bricks. All of these products are developed out of love for sentient beings and compassion and love for the Mother Earth. And we have actually turned a lot of this garbage into a love that encircle the world. What is your opinion on that?
No, I think that is fantastic. I think recycling is important. The problem is all of us, consumer, especially the wealthy consumer, wealthy people buy more than they need. They buy too much, And then after they use a few times, they don't want it. They want to buy new one. So when they don't want it, they throw it away. If you take it, redo it and repair it a bit here and there, it can be used. So they don't have to buy new one. So this is good for the environment. So basically, I think a lot of people should buy less things and don't buy unnecessary things. And I think Master Cheng Yen has done so well in this. I read so much, I've seen so many videos all over the world. There's so many recycling centers set up by Tzu Chi. This is wonderful. If more other organizations can do the same, if the Christian organization, the Muslim organization, the Hindu organization can do all this, I think the world will be a much, much better place. We all combine, everybody put in effort with Master's guidance and Master's teaching, we can save Mother Earth.
Yeah, maybe next, Brother Vincent, you want to talk about a bit how you practice sustainability within your group of companies, how you influence your staff.
I think with the, after my involvement in Tzu Chi, we have now set up recycling in our company, and we have also provided a lot of premises. We work with Tzu Chi, provide premises for Tzu Chi members to do recycling. For example, we have done it in all our golf clubs. All our clubs, we have brought out a space for Tzu Chi to help us to, working with Tzu Chi to set up recycling center. And I think this is very good. So the club members and people living nearby can come, their unwanted products, they can come and leave it there, and then it can be recycled. And then some of it can be taken and be sold. And the money collected, Tzu Chi has done that, and the money is donated for charitable purposes to help people in need, to help people who need medical care and things like that. It's great.
Yes, so we recycle the waste and turn them into a stream of love that we can actually go and reach out to people. So using waste to turn them into a stream of gold.
Yeah.
And that is actually the goal of Tzu Chi in recycling. And our 1,000 over recycling station in both East and West Malaysia is actually an education center to raise awareness amongst the Malaysian public that saving Mother Earth is the responsibility of each and every one of us here. So collectively, we can do a lot.
Yes. I think since I've been a vegetarian, I have, for example, serve only vegetarian meals to my guests. And I've also, for example, in our hotel in Kuala Lumpur, have converted the coffee house. I mean, most coffee houses in hotels serve, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. But in this particular one, we call it Berjaya Cafe. We decided to only serve vegetarian, and we try to localize the vegetarian to local dishes that people like. For example, nasi lemak, and then we create rendang mutton, but it's actually made from mushroom. So we localize that, and then we convert that into 100% vegetarian. Of course, initially the management, even the management of the hotel think is a bad idea, as many guests will not be happy. But now we have learned after now that we have been doing this for almost maybe 7-8 months, we find that customers, when they come, some actually are not aware, the Muslim customers are not aware that this is because we just say it's Berjaya Cafe, we didn't really say vegetarian. So when they look at the menu, they say, oh, so then they know that it's vegetarian, but they already sat down, they ordered their drink, so they say, okay, well, they will try. And all of them actually, after eating it, they say, hey, it's not bad. Vegetarian is not bad. So I think it's just in the mind, of the management, that most people think that, oh, if you don't serve non-vegetarian, if there is no meat, no seafood, nobody will come. But I think initially maybe we'll lose some customers, but I believe over time, people will find that the food is not bad. And then people are now being told, I think there's publication all over that, it is healthier. Being vegetarian is good for the environment. In short, Master Cheng Yan's call has now been heeded by so many well-educated people in the world. The Western countries are now saying, we have to do something about the environment. Global warming is upon us. If we don't do anything, all of us, mankind will be in trouble. And it is already. The weather is getting warmer. Some sea level rises above the land in certain places. So I think all human beings, mankind is aware of this. So in a way, they are heeding Master Cheng Yan's call that we have to be vegetarian. And for example, we must save the environment. And for example, Master Cheng Yan promote, we must do recycling. We must take care of the environment. This is happening. Even for those who may not have heard of Master Cheng Yan, they are also doing their own recycling, looking after the environment, and more conscious of the environment. So this is all happening, and of course with the pandemic, people realize that the pandemic is also a result of the environment. Maybe it is God's way of telling, the pandemic is to say, hey, everyone to slow down. There's less, seas are better, clearer, rivers are cleaner, environment is cleaner, because you stop mankind from traveling for a while. So these are all happening. So pandemic, it hurt all of us. Everyone suffer. But there must be a reason for this. So we all need to know what is the reason, although we are all trying to get vaccine to try to stay alive, But we have to learn from this. And like what Master say.
It's true. Master keep telling us that we suffer in our own hands, and the COVID-19 is a pandemic of a global lesson that we must all learn. It's interesting when you talk about, you turn Berjaya Cafe into a vegetarian restaurant. So profit wasn't your focus, but in reality, what are you pushing in this regard?
I think, profit is still important. Initially it may be less profitable, but I believe that can be turned around. Eventually it will be more profitable, because I also must realize that although I own a big stake of the company, big share, in a way I have a controlling stake, but still my minority shareholders, some may not agree with me, some want more profits. So I'm trying to balance this. But I believe my message is we can still be profitable. For example, we have started, we bought into this Sala, S-A-L-A. It is a vegetarian small restaurant. Initially was one. After we bought, now we have opened 6 of it. Because we joined the original founder. With us, then we can expand bigger. And we also look at a few others. And we are looking at a few other vegetarian restaurants, because I think we have to bring vegetarian food more convenient to people. And for example, you look at look at McDonald's. McDonald's like in Malaysia, it's about maybe 400 outlets. Kentucky Fried Chicken maybe 800-900. So, but which vegetarian chain has? I think not even one has got 20 outlets. So I think that is something possible, that we can slowly grow this and then make this. The idea is to make it convenient for them. Sometimes people want to eat vegetarian, they really have to look around for one, and they find some is not convenient location and things like that. So we need, to also provide a lot of venue for people to be able to eat vegetarian in a convenient location, convenient to them, and also hopefully comfortable, air conditioned, and give good service and charge reasonable price. So I think with all that, then we make vegetarian restaurant and outlet more convenient for them. Then more people can experience and at least can make an effort to become a vegetarian. So I think that if there are entrepreneurs among us, Suchi, I would encourage them to all go and open vegetarian restaurant. We'll all be friendly competitor. But no problem. So we want all of them to open and support vegetarian restaurant. Initially, most vegetarian restaurants are not really that profitable. But I think over time, when more and more people accept it, for example, in Malaysia, 70% of our population are Muslim. To them, vegetarian is something quite not norm for them. It's out of the norm. But you'll be surprised that there are many Muslims who are vegetarian. So we need to make more places convenient to them, and don't give them the idea that vegetarian is only for Buddhism or for Hindus. No, vegetarian is universal. It's a universal language for all. It is, if you consider it a religion, it is a universal religion for everyone. So everyone can be a vegetarian, irregardless of whatever religion you are.
So it is actually a way of healthy living.
Yeah, it's a way of healthy living.
The body and also for the mind. So apart from the vegetarian restaurants, what other initiatives are you doing?
Well, whenever there's an opportunity, like for example, sometimes, recently I've hired a very good CEO for our group. He's very spoken very well in the corporate world. So I hired him and asked him to join us. So he's now the group CEO. And with that, I say I will step back. I'm no longer the executive chairman. I'm the founder and the chairman, but I don't want to be executive and get bogged down with so many things. So he will be doing a lot of that together with my son, Robin. But Robin also has agreed that he also wants to step down. So we let it be run by professionals. So with that, I have a bit more time so I can talk about, being vegetarian recently. Every time there's requests for me to talk, I'm willing to spend an hour or two and talk about this. So that hopefully this message of vegetarianism and healthy living can reach more people. And for example, I think in Malaysia, we should reach the Muslim. We want our Muslim brothers and sisters to be healthy. And I think I recently did one with the Nona magazine. I understand it is quite well received. People viral it all over the place. I have many friends who, congratulate me and on this. So this is what I will do. And since if people want to ask me to talk, I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to spend an hour or two. It just take away my personal time, but no problem. For me, this is like in a way a mini crusade for me,
A mission.
A mission, yeah, maybe not a full-time mission, but at least a part-time mission. And there are other things I like to do in my life, helping in the vegetarian, helping people in need. Sometimes we get all kinds of requests. We try to help a bit here and there. So this is what I'm doing. And there are other things. For example, lately I'm looking at this potential social problem that our country can face if we don't take care of the poor and low-income people who cannot afford to buy a house and who only rent a house for almost their entire life. I think we have to do something about this, and I'm trying to do. I'm with a few like-minded people who are interested in this. We have formed a committee and to look into this, to how to help our Malaysian lower income citizens to own a house. So I'm spending some time on that, yeah.
Yeah, we also learned that recently you secured the franchise for Beyond Beef in Malaysia.
Beyond Meat, yeah.
Yes. Why do you do that?
No, I think they were looking for a distributor, and they know that. I think they know that I'm a vegetarian. That our group, and then we also have, we own Starbucks, we own 7-Eleven, and we own hotels. So they think we are a good group to work with. So we are one of our trading company brought Beyond Meat in, and we find that other people are importing from Singapore and elsewhere, and it's priced almost 30% more. So after we work out their price, we actually reduce the price by 30%. So I think that increased the consumption. But of course, there are other competitors which I think is quite good. For example, Nestle has started
Vegetarian meat.
Yeah, or plant protein plant that makes vegetarian burgers and all this. So I think that is very good. That will help to increase the number of people being vegetarian. Because sometimes if you eat the two products, a real beef burger and a Beyond Meat or even a Nestle burger.
Soya protein.
The protein is the same, but definitely the plant protein from Beyond Meat and from the Nestle one is definitely healthier than the McDonald's all beef burger.
Brother Vincent,
Yes.
Master Zhen Yan has reminded us all that the COVID-19 pandemic is a universal lesson for all of us. What did you learn from it?
I think we have all done a lot of damage to Mother Earth. Global warming is, I think, man-made. And I think mankind, like what all what Master and many people have said, have to do something about this. So we all should contribute in our own small way to do something about our environment and to enhance and repair the damage that we all have caused to Mother Earth.
Did that influence your decision in the recent hire of Jalil, which is the first in admitting an outsider to your group of business?
Yeah, I think, yes, I think the pandemic does influence because, all of us, worldwide, everybody is affected by this pandemic. Many people suffer. Of course, there are some who are in the right industries, they do well. But most people suffer. There are many people who can't even put food on their table. So we have also many businesses. For example, we own 40 over hotels. So that really suffers a lot. Quite a few of our business also suffer. So it was, but it didn't hire him. He came to see, we met up through a friend's recommendation. I find that he's a very, very intelligent person. He's very well regarded. I found out that he's very well regarded by the investment community. And then he has good ideas about businesses, how businesses should be run. So then I offered him, he was actually going to, in June, he was going to move to Singapore to take up a new post. He was away from Malaysia for 12 years when he came back to PNB for, and he only stayed there for 9 months because there was a change of government. So after talking to him, and I didn't just talk to him once, I think we met like maybe 20, 30 times over several months. I find that this person is impressive. And this is exactly why I need someone like this to run my group. And also, I've thought about this family thing, It's, I also begin to realize that it is better that we get, better professional to run rather than just be family run, rather than be family centric. So I also discussed that with my children, and in fact I told my children that I want all of them to do their own business. And I think if they do their own business, they will be focused, they own it, they own a big part of their own business, they will be more committed rather than they just join a business that is founded by their father. And so I made an offer to Jalil and convinced him to stay. I said, don't go to Singapore. We have really lost so many good, capable people from this country, brain drain. They get better salaries overseas. They get, some of them like to live overseas. They think it's better life. But I say for me, I will never move out of Malaysia. Malaysia is my home, And I said you should consider to make Malaysia your home. You have been away 12 years, and you also tell me that your parents want you back. So why don't you join our group? Don't go to Singapore and take up a big post, although they may pay you very well, but this is a great country and you were born here. So he finally, after I went around, he finally accepted. And I think that gives me an opportunity to step back and do the things that I like. For example, now I believe in vegetarianism. I would like to promote it. I believe in, I've always believed that we should help people when we can, whenever we can. If we are blessed with great wealth, I always say great wealth is not our, it's not something for us to keep forever. Great wealth comes from great blessings. We are being blessed to have great wealth. I always say that many people are more intelligent than me. Many people are more intelligent than all the people that have become wealthy. It's just that I think they have a bit of intelligence, they get blessing, they got luck, and they become very rich. And I say because of that, for example, I always say, how did we become rich? For example, you own a business. If your customers, the consumer, don't support you, how can you be rich? How can you be rich by yourself? Maybe some they invent something fantastic, they sell their invention, they become very rich. But in the end, you need a lot of customers. I became rich because I started McDonald's, not the best business for a vegetarian. Then I got Starbucks, I own 7-Eleven, we have Causeway, we have all kinds of consumer business. And these are supported by millions of people. Millions of Malaysians support our business, and then I become rich. So it is only fair that at least we give half of this back to society who helped me to become rich. And I think my children should have a bit, and then they should go and work and if they want more wealth, they want to be richer, they should go and earn it themselves. I think giving children great inheritance, to me, it is wrong. I think I've seen it, some people give everything to their children. I think it's very wrong. I think they make a bad decision, And when that happens, when you give to your children, you earn it, you pass it to your children. It is very difficult for the children to give it away then and give all away or give half away to charity, because then the grandchildren will say, hey, you inherit from grandfather, how can you give it away? You must get our permission. But in my case, I make it, so I don't need their permission.
So that is really turning knowledge into wisdom.
Yes, I think it is important as we grow older, we should become wise. Wisdom means you have to benefit society, and you cannot just benefit only your family. And for example, I always say, we need to live in a country that there's not too many poor people. If there are too many poor people, the country is not a good country to live in. So we all have to help the poorer one to become better, so that they won't be an angry lot. They won't be generating bad energy, bad feelings, and that is no good for everyone. We don't want to live in a palace surrounded by slums. I think one day the people in the slum will come and burn our palatial home, our big villas, big bungalows, because if they are angry. So I think all of us, not only the government, the wealthy people must contribute and work with the government to help the poor people. And so I think Tzu Chi principle is, coincides with what I believe, and that's why I become a member of Tzu Chi. I'm never a member of any charity organization. I don't get involved with other charity, although we donate to them, but I don't get involved. But in Tzu Chi, somehow after meeting Master Chen Yan, I believe that she is mortal, that I believe is like immortal to me. She's like a living goddess, that she's someone you can follow and learn from, and her teaching and her belief suits very much what I believe in.
That is true. Master always reminds us that we are not at peace until and unless others are at peace. And Brother Vincent, you have been a Tzu Chi Faith Corps since 2019. You have joined many of Tzu Chi's activities, from recycling to charity and relief. What are the activities that has got the most impact on you?
The most impactful one is I visited with some Tzu Chi members and I took my family with us. We went to Turkey, we went to Istanbul and visited Syrian refugees. From that visit, it is a very touching visit. And it was so touching to see what Tzu Chi, what Brother Faisal, who did, and his wife did, started Tzu Chi there, of course, with Master's vision. Tzu Chi Istanbul, or Tzu Chi Turkey, built free schools and helped all the Syrian refugees. So we were there to meet Syrian refugees and give some help. I think we were there like 4 days, and it was such a touching visit. We learned that the Syrians, many of them were middle class or professional. They have to live in a hurry. They almost left Syria with the shirt on their back and nothing else. They lost everything. Some of them seen their friends or relatives being gunned down, because of the civil war that was going on. And they managed to get into Turkey. And also I saw that, and I learned that Turkey has almost 4 million Syrian refugees. With that visit, I have greater respect for the Turkish government, for President Erdogan, for what they have done. The willingness to let 4 million refugees stay in their country and provide and help them. It is fantastic for a country to do that. Most countries don't. We know most countries stop them, don't want them to come in. So I think Turkey is very humane, provides a lot of compassion to these people. So that is impressive. And of course, the most impressive is when we meet them, when we see their happiness, that Tzu Chi helps them financially, monthly. Tzu Chi provides school for their children to study. Otherwise, there is no school for them to go. And Tzu Chi teach them, study with them their own language, and also teach them English, teach them Mandarin. This is so fantastic. It was so impressive to see the children happy, dancing, singing in English, singing in even Mandarin. So I was most touched, and we visited many families. You can cry hearing their stories. So that was a very moving experience. And we were also fortunate that I managed, through my contact in the football world, I got to meet the president of, I took all the Tzu Chi people, all of us went to meet the president of Turkey, President Erdogan. It was very nice of him to give us an audience. And on that occasion, he doesn't even know that Tzu Chi is in Turkey, because Tzu Chi is always trying to be low-key, no publicity. And he was very surprised to learn that Tzu Chi has got 3,000 students studying, and that Tzu Chi provide financial aid. He was very impressed, and he actually told his secretary, he's going to make sure if Tzu Chi need any help, must help them. And that, when he said that, it makes Brother Faisal Hu and the wife cry. They cry on the spot. It was so touching.
Yes.
They were so touched by the president's kindness.
Yes, yeah. I remember I was on the trip with you there. And Master always reminds us that education gives hope to children, and children are the hope of society. And I remember I witnessed the importance of such education in how it can transform lives. And there I realized how Tzu Chi education in the Manahil school has transformed these children from the emotion and the senses of hate, anger and fear into strength, courage and love. And we saw how the children were so happy
singing and dancing to us.
So that is the importance of education, not only to give hope for the future, but it is actually life transforming. Master Zhen Yan has this mission to turn around Africa. Bill Gates talked about lighting up Africa physically, but Master has this mission to light up the hearts of the African so that they can illuminate the land. What do you think you can do about that?
No, I think that is very good. We all know that Africa needs help. In fact, we have all of us have seen from many. Or heard a lot of news or saw a video on TV report of the sufferings of Africans, lack of food, backward and all this. Yeah, I think Africa needs a lot of help, and I think Master has made this is a good choice of a continent that really needs help. Bill Gates has also said that, and we all know Bill Gates has done a lot. So I think personally, Master said this, and I did say that I would like to visit Africa and see how we can help. Of course, this you have to wait for the pandemic to be over and the world get back to normal. But then we have a Malaysian that I managed to meet her. Her name is Dr. Carmen Long. She's fantastic. She spent a lot of time in Mozambique, and she actually contacted me to see whether I can donate some sewing machines to Mozambique for them to sew masks and also to use a sewing machine to improve their livelihood. So I actually donated 24 machines, I think, and we had to do a lot to try to get the machine there. Finally, we managed to buy it from South Africa, from Johannesburg, and then they sent it into Mozambique by road. We're trying to send by ship from Malaysia, anywhere else would be too difficult. So the machine was there. We bought from Singer, Africa, and sent it in. And they would send me the video of when the machine came. All of them were dancing, so happy. It was such a great sight for me. It was also very satisfying to see that they appreciated it so much, And I also understand that sewing machine has helped them a lot. So, it is something not very big that I help. A small help, but it was so well received and so fantastic. You can see from that Africa needs a lot of help, and I think Asia can help Africa, and of course I also know China has done a lot for Africa. So all of us, if we can, we should find a bit of time and make some donation to help Africa.
Yes, one person may not be able to do a lot, but collectively, we can make significant positive changes to their lives. In joining a lot of the Tzu Chi activities, it has taken you to many parts of Malaysia, East Malaysia and West Malaysia. What, in your opinion, that has the most impactful feelings to you?
I think of all the places that I got involved visiting with Tzu Chi, I think the visit to Tawau in Sabah was quite, I would say, it left a very deep impression on me. We visited Tawau, the main town, and by the side, in the middle of the town, there was an area where the local people call it the black area. They recommend guests, visitors not to go there, or their friends not to go there. So I learned that Tzu Chi members went there initially. They were very scared, but finally they won the heart of all these people. These were stateless, Filipinos, immigrants. They come from Mindanao. And Malaysia treat them as stateless. That means they are like illegal immigrants. But many of them lived there for 30, 40, 50 years. And I was so surprised to learn that their children cannot even go to school. And Tzu Chi set up a school and give education to about 300 students. And you could see before that Tzu Chi show us pictures and video of them. They were playing everywhere, playing in near the water, dirty and all sort of thing. And then next picture you see they are all dressed up in school uniform, all lined up, so disciplined, so impressive. And during the visit, we went to visit their place where they stay. They were staying on stilts in the water. And then when we walk on the walkway, I call it like broad walk, and they walk there every day. When we walk, and all of us walk, suddenly you can find the boardwalk is moving, So I say, hey, hold on, better all walk one by one, the rest wait. You know, we're afraid too many walk in case it collapse. And I understand some of our Tzu Chi members have even fallen down into the water, dirty water some more. So it was quite telling that they are so poor, and we hear all this, you know, their situation. And I thought of that was a very, very good visit. And it shows that, to me, as a Malaysian, we didn't treat them well. But as a human being, you're looking at what they have gone through. Their students cannot study. They have no papers. They are stateless. They have no identification. And they cannot work also properly. This is not a good situation. And it is so good of Tzu Chi to help their children and also to help them financially. And that really touched me. And I thought Tzu Chi did such a great job in this. And after that visit, I always said to myself and to my friends who come from Sabah that you guys in Sabah have to do something about this. This is not a good situation long term for Sabah.
That is true, and Tzu Chi actually has planned to expand help to other parts of Sabah
Yes.
For the stateless children.
Yes.
And we would need a lot of help in that
Yes.
regard.
Yes.
One person can't do a lot, but collectively we can do a lot
Yes,
more
that's true,
for
yeah.
the stateless.
Yeah, and Tzu Chi wants to set up another 4 or 5 schools in this, and I've also said that I will also come in and help.
That's
and
right.
Participate and make some donation.
Yeah, in the recent pandemic, when we tried to go out and reach out to people in need, and that is when it brought us the attention to this group of helpless, stateless people, and it made us then realize the devastating state that they are living in. So certainly, like you said, we can definitely do more for this group of people.
Yes.
Thank you. Whenever we talk about protection of Mother Earth, what comes into mind are big things, big projects like windmill, electric cars, reforestation, etc. But in fact, in terms of Mother Earth protection, we can all start by doing the small things, because collectively we can bring huge impact. Climate change can only be slowed or reversed if and only if each and every one of us are willing to change our mindset. We can take positive steps to control our consumption pattern and adopt and practice 5R, which are refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, and recycle, and of course to adopt vegetarianism. We can also collectively raise morality to stop littering and polluting. We have heard from Brother Vincent that he can enjoy the sea, he can swim with the fishes and the sea creatures, with them knowing that he is of no threat to them. So come join us to recycle and give vegetarianism a try. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Our next sharer in our next episode of Love is in the Air is Brother Lim Wee Chai. He is the founder and executive chairman of Top Club. And we all know that there are many, many elements that are necessary in order to succeed in life. A healthy body is one. So stay tuned for our next episode, Love is in the Air.